It has been an unusually cold winter.
January and February are pretty cold and dreary months. That is also true in cinema. These months are considered dumping grounds for studios to release films that are either considered not very good or have a low chance of success. In fact, if you look back at my 10 worst movies of 2024 video, 4 of them came out last January or February. Into this cold and dreary time period comes the movie Flight Risk. Directed by Mel Gibson, starring Mark Wahlberg, Topher Grace, and Michelle Dockery. So what do we have here? Is Flight Risk a possible successful, or dare I say even good early year release? Or is it yet another January dud? Well, before we answer that, let's talk a little bit about the plot for the movie Flight Risk.
Let's have a little chat, okay?
Madeline Harris is a U.S. Marshal. She hunts down Winston in the Alaska wilderness. He's a mob accountant who, as soon as he's arrested, agrees to testify against his boss. To get him back to testify, however, they must fly him out of the fringes of Alaska. The charter plane is pretty old and beat up, and the pilot, Darrell Booth, is a bit of an oddball. But with no other options, Agent Harris agrees to the trip, only to discover after takeoff that the pilot who is transporting them is also a hitman and has been sent to assassinate Winston. After Winston and Harris subdue him, they are forced to fly together after discovering that there are others attempting to eliminate them as well. But even subdued, Booth still proves to be dangerous. Now Agent Harris must keep an eye on her witness, keep an eye on Booth, and fly a plane, something that she has never done before. So what works in this film? I have to say I was impressed with Michelle Dockery. I've never seen her before. Now she's known best for her role in Downton Abbey. It's a show I've never watched. She's strong here, especially as we learn more about her motivation and her past. Also, kudos to Topher Grace, who I've always loved, especially on that 70s show. His character here is basically what would happen if Eric Foreman from the 70s show grew up to be a shady accountant. But his comedic timing works. And I also like these types of setups. You know, the thriller where your characters have nowhere to go, nowhere to run. The vast majority of the movie takes place on a small plane. The cramped nature of the set adds to the tension. Finally, 90-minute runtime is perfect for this type of movie. It tells its story, there's no filler, it doesn't overstay its welcome. What doesn't work here, however, is, look, I think Marky Mark's a great actor. It's surprising, I never thought I'd say that in the 90s, you know, with him in the Funky Bunch, but hey, he's been great in many roles. And I get it here, he's supposed to be a psychotic hitman, but his character is comically over the top. The script turns him up to 11. He's really more funny than scary. And don't get me started on the hairpiece. It's not a CGI heavy movie, but when it uses CGI, it's so obvious and cheap. It's like watching a made-for-TV film from the 90s. And finally, there's really nothing new or creative here. You know right away where this movie is going, what's going to happen. There is not a ton of tension as to where the story is heading.
I've seen this before.
But, that being said, I found this to be a perfectly fun and entertaining film. Not the most original movie ever made, and an oddly subdued and simple film from Gibson considering his past works like Passion of the Christ. Flight Risk is a straightforward, old-fashioned thriller that doesn't reinvent the form, but is reliable in its ability to entertain you. And for this time of year, I'll take it. Worth a watch for simple entertainment purposes.
I'll take it.
Well, that's all I have for you this week. Tune in next week where I give you my thoughts and feelings on whatever I've seen. In the meantime, click that like button, subscribe, leave a comment or a question, share this video with friends and enemies alike, And as always, thank you for giving me your valuable time, and I'll see you next week. Take care.